I was impressed by how you handled that drake outside the Vale.
A little terrifying, I will admit.
But you kept a cool head and didn't let it get the better of you. Not everyone can do that.
So, how often do I need to return to camp? Do you need me to report back frequently?
That's entirely up to you. Points privilege. You're the one taking the risks, so you can gauge how far and how long you can push. From time to time, I or the folks around the camp might have requests, but we'll defer to your priorities. And if you get into trouble, I'll pull you to safety. Might lose some resources, but that's a small price to pay.
Got it. A lot of responsibility.
Points privilege.
Can I ask how you knew to pack up the camp outside the Vale?
The tangles were shifting. They'd been static the entire time. And then, suddenly, just as an arc deflects a wave of Drake's breath, they start to move. That's no coincidence.
How do you know to run to me, then?
The tangles closed down the path the caravan took in. And it wasn't like I was going to abandon you.
I believe I was promised one epic tale on how you discovered the route into the Vale's shadow.
I suppose I did promise you. Rumors of a safe passage into the shadow had been swirling among Weaver circles for the last 5 years. They'd always piqued my interest, but I couldn't get a solid lead on it until 2 years ago. Weavers in a caravan bound for Don Brennig told me they no longer had a point. They'd lost an older Casil fellow who journeyed on the Strand Road before the surge. He insisted on one last big expedition before his retirement. Into the Vale's shadow. It killed him, but they got pretty close.
So you got the route from that caravan?
Not quite. The point that died was the one who led them in. He had the trade roads memorized, but it was confirmation that getting close to the Vale was possible. I spent the next few months chasing leads. Eventually, I was able to trade an Ash Peak Drake's Tooth for a map of the trade roads with a dubious Ashar woman in Tarza.
A drake's tooth?
Some people believe grinding the tooth of a drake into a powder and consuming it could have stimulating properties.
Ah.
Fools. Regardless, between the map and the other leads, I was able to plan the route that led us to the Vale's shadow a fortnight ago. The final missing piece was an apprentice point to take on the expedition with me.
Glad I could help. Thanks for sharing, Aurea.
What's a good adventure if you can't regale someone with the tale later?
Hey, I know we need to fix up the forge, but before we do, I'd like to talk to you about something.
Sure. What's up?
I owe you an apology.
What for?
I've been a little cold since you've arrived, and I should have been more welcoming. I was just under a lot of stress with everything that happened.
You mean when we ran for our lives from a death cloud into a lost land?
Yeah, that. And losing supplies, and Aurea getting injured, and then having a point takeover who...
Lacks experience.
At the time, that's what it seemed like. But ever since we arrived, you've been more than proving yourself. You made finding food and water a top priority. That's when I realized our Weaver band is in good hands. I underestimated you when I shouldn't have, and frankly, I was a jerk about it.
It's okay, Cass.
No, it's not. I really am sorry. I hope we can have a better relationship moving forward.
Thanks. That means a lot. Let's just start fresh, okay?
I'd love that.
So, I know Sola mentioned improvements to her forge meant being able to hone my sword. What does that entail exactly?
Unfortunately, the missing supplies I mentioned.
Is there a way I can help you restock?
Right now, we reserve the materials you bring back for your armors and weapons, because that's the priority. But if there's anything you can spare, I can repurpose them into supplies for our campsite.
Sounds simple enough.
Glad to hear it. These are a great start. With the supplies we've got already, we could shape up our campsite. We lost a lot of stuff when we were running for our lives, and frankly, our setup is only half of what it should be. But we can rebuild.
What do you have in mind?
Like we discussed, Sola could forge better weapons with improvements to her smithy. Like honing your sword so it can cut through arc armor. Alternatively, Dom could certainly care better for our mantles with new tools for weaving. And to keep you in fighting form, having Lane's alchemical tools in top form is invaluable. There's no end to the improvements we could make around here. And everyone's lives would be safer for it.
What about you?
Me? Oh, I don't need anything.
Come on, there must be something.
I mean, would new shelves be nice? Sure. I also have some ideas for your supply pouches. But don't worry about me. I'm fine. Right now, improving Sola's forge is more important.
I know our band has made the most of what we've got so far, but this is a great idea. You can count on me.
Thanks, Bren. Sola is delighted with the improvements to her forge. She can refine your sword as soon as you'd like. Great work, Bryn.
Turns out we make a pretty good team. This campsite will be top of the line in no time.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need to start directing a water flow to the camp. Maybe even install a fountain in the back. Would help to get a garden going in here too. Fruits, vegetables, medicinal herbs. Oh, that reminds me, we'll need the... What?
Do you ever take a break? You know, to enjoy a job well done?
Sure. Sometimes. Once there are fewer fires to put out, I'll relax. I swear.
Just try to remember, it's not the end of the world if you take a break. Someone will step in to help lighten your load.
It doesn't always feel like the others realize how much needs to get done.
Then tell them. Like how you told me we needed supplies. I stepped in to help, didn't I?
You did. I see your point.
The others will do the same.
Maybe. I'd better get back to work, but this was nice.
You know, when talking to Lane, they mentioned that you actually trained to become Point yourself. Lane said the training was going well, and then one day, it just stopped. Can I ask why?
Honestly, it was just too much for me. The responsibility that comes with being Point. I guess I caved under pressure. Leaping headfirst into danger isn't for everyone. What made you decide to become a Point?
Neither of my parents were weavers, but my dad would tell me stories about the Enclave as a child.
You became a Point because of a bedtime story.
What can I say? Magic gripped me at a young age and never let go. Now that I'm a Point, the possibilities are endless.
And has being Point given you what you're looking for?
So far, yeah.
Good. For a long time, I felt like I let Aurea down. She wanted me to continue with the training, but I just couldn't. When she offered to keep me on as a quartermaster, I was surprised. In time, it made sense, though. I always enjoyed the planning of my expeditions, more than the expeditions themselves.
So you've been happier as a quartermaster?
Yes, this is much more my speed. Besides, someone needs to hang it with Arva. Seriously. I'm more than happy to leave the creature wrangling to you.
I'm not sure I have what it takes to pack a caravan anyway.
I've seen how messy your tent is. You most definitely do not.
Color me delighted that we're starting to restore our capabilities around the camp. When the time comes, I'll work with Casmin to create some new tools here.
Then we can start weaving more intricate strands into my mantle, right?
Yes. You harvest, I'll weave, and we'll have you channeling such magics.
I knew we'd recover. We always do. Still feels nice to have my core tools back this quickly.
Still a long way to go, but we'll get there.
Speaking of, I've something for you. We've been scavenging around the way station and reclaimed a fair amount of useful materials. They're stored away and ready for you. Should be enough to reforge your sword as we discussed.
Sounds like it's time to make something that can punch through arc armor.
That's the spirit. Not too heavy, not too light. sword and board. There you go. Not just good as new. Better.
Now that I can cut the carapace free, what's next?
Whenever the band is collaborating on a problem, I'm often the one to create the design, and you'll put it together with me. At least normally they're my designs. Sev actually came up with this one. With carapace and enough metal, I can forge his patch for the leaking conduit.
Any particular metal required?
No, just enough of the same type. Sev and I try to keep our designs flexible to work with whatever we've got in the caravan. Once you have everything we need, we'll forge the patch here.
Your tent. Might not be glamorous, but you can rest here when you're not gallivanting on expeditions.
It's perfect.
Don't know about perfect. I could have done a better job if we didn't lose half our supplies when we passed through the Veil.
Seriously, I didn't have anything close to this in Aaron's band. Half the time I was lucky if I didn't sleep on dirt.
Era's breath. Was Aaron running from Maid of Turdville? He sounds like the worst.
Yeah. I always knew he wasn't a great point. But traveling with you guys is making me realize how bad he actually was.
Yeah, you deserve a break. Ideally, one that involves a nap on blankets instead of dirt. I'll leave you to get settled.
You're coming up on the Ark of the Stricken Earth. With a stronger sword, hopefully the carapace will come off easy.
All right. With kinetic magic, I should be able to clear the base of the loom gate. All done.
Nice work, Bryn. We should have enough space to work on fixing that pipe now.
This might take a while.
You'll need to swing harder to cut through armor that thick.
What's happening?
Retrieving the carapace is going to be trickier than we thought.
Is she really ready to fight that thing?
Catch your breath. When you're ready, you can climb the arc to attack it from different angles. The armor in place. Hit the exposed skin with everything you've got. Magic isn't coursing through that patch of skin anymore. Move on.
Our chance to get the carapace, but you secured it.
Any concerns about using the Archon strand, Dom?
Concerns? None. Excitement? Considerable. We should be able to weave that strand into your mantle brim.
Perfect.
You think this patch will fix the leaking pipe?
Yes. And with the debris cleared, why don't you tell Arya we've got everything we need to fix the loom gate?
Me?
Acting or otherwise, major communication should come from the point.
I'll keep that in mind. The patch is ready, and I've cleared the debris at the loom gate in Glintwood Hollow.
Excellent work, Bryn. Time for you to take a well-earned rest while the band heads into the Hollow.
You sure you don't need me to come?
We've got this. And you need the break.
All right, if you say so.
Arya, it's Lane, by the way.
What's that?
They don't like to be called Lane. I heard you saying it to Bryn earlier. That's the name their parents chose. Lane is the name they chose.
Fair enough.
Aurea, how's it going?
Bryn, you're awake. We're making progress over here. Careful with that.
Hey, no one came back to camp, did they? Is the rest of the band still with you?
We're all here. And the leak is just about fixed.
Hey, wait, I just want to talk. That was incredible.
Hey, couldn't have done it without you.
Actually, we couldn't have done it without Sev. I didn't expect you to have such a deft hand with magical conduits.
I'm not... I mean... We just got lucky it held.
Not to distract from the victory, but something happened while you were gone. I saw something. Well, someone.
A Hearthsider?
Maybe. The figure was masked and standing at the edge of the camp. I think they were watching me. Before they disappeared.
How friendly.
If there are people still left in the Enclave, we need to find them. They can tell us what happened here.
Yes. I was just thinking we should chase down the scary masked figure that likes to watch Bryn sleep.
Since we arrived, we've been speculating about what may have happened after the surge. But no one here knows the truth. Only Hearthsiders could tell us that. I think the truth is worth the risk that they may be hostile.
You're right. We won't find answers standing here.
Friendly or hostile, if there are Hearthsiders, we need to find them.
Agreed.
And the good news is, fixing the Loom Gate didn't just give us easier access to Glintwood, it expanded our scry's reach.
So scries are somehow connected to the Enclave's tapestry?
Every scry was built here.
This means you not only have access to the Loom Gate, but you can safely explore further.
Incidentally, our maps indicate that there is a village beyond the Hollow in a large swathe of wetlands known as Dredger's Mire.
Perhaps we'll find our Hearthsider there. Bryn, why don't you brief with Lane before your next expedition?
Sounds good.
After that, it's time to use the Loom Gate.
Why didn't you guys return using it yourselves?
We needed to take a key swatch back to camp in order to connect the two. We'll make sure you have a key swatch to connect any other Loom Gates to this one from now on.
Well pleased with the reforge. There's another option too. We can enhance your gear.
Not the same thing?
No. Enhancing uses more of the same materials from the original construction. I use them to add a bit more protection to your armor, reinforce your blades and such. Worth doing if you have extra materials. I'll be able to do more as we build my smithy's set of tools back up. I hope I'm not prying by bringing this up, but Darm and Arya told me about your last band.
Oh. Yeah.
Sounds like it was pretty rough.
It wasn't great, that's for sure. I mean, I gave up everything I knew to become a weaver. And it only took a couple of weeks for me to realize I had chased the wrong caravan out of town. All that band did was drink and fight. I stuck around, thinking I might be able to make a difference if I became point, but Aaron chose someone else to take his place in the end.
You're in better hands now. I promise. Even though I'm sure your last few days with us have been a lot. Do you have any regrets about leaving?
I'm not one for getting lost in the past. I prefer to keep my eyes on what's in front of me. So, no regrets.
Glad to hear you're moving on. But, you know, sometimes it takes us a little while to process our experiences. If you ever do need to dwell on the past, just know I'm here to listen.
Thanks, Sola.
Here to brief?
I like to know everything I can before venturing off to a new place.
Just beyond the forested hills of Glintwood Hollow lies the wetlands known as Dredger's Mire. Much like the Hollow, the Enclave prospected many of the raw materials needed for its ambitious constructs and projects from the mire. Oh, it's no coincidence you found the Ark of the Stricken Earth near a collapsed mine. Likely, it was used for the excavation of minerals and metals before the surge. I believe the natural surroundings of the mire were also rich in resources. The Enclave even settled a small village there known as Poldervale.
Which is where I might find that masked figure that was watching me.
It's possible. Regardless, do you have any questions before you head out?
Thanks for the info, Lane. I think I'm ready to head out.
My pleasure. Oh, wait, I almost forgot. I didn't have the biggest role to play in the Loom Gate's repair. I'm not exactly handy with a hammer. But watching the band work gave me an idea for a new alchemical project. Its working name is a loom shard.
A loom shard?
Yes, it's a shard that could draw magic from a loom gate and bring you back to camp safely, wherever you are.
How is this different from Aurea putting me back with the scry?
Unaided, Aurea can only summon enough magic to bring you back safely, not all the valuables you might have collected on your expedition. Because this shard draws magic from the tapestry, it can bring you back safely with all you've gathered.
Thanks, Lane.
Bryn, one would think you've been fighting massive constructs your entire life.
It's a newer hobby I've picked up. On account of only having seen one for the first time recently.
Yes, it's quite something to see a massive Archon after studying their role in history for so long.
You seem a little concerned about something.
Oh, no. That Arcs are still functioning in the Enclave is a revelatory discovery. I'm elated, of course.
Very convincing.
It's just, this Archon brings up more questions than it answers. For starters, arcs of this variety tended to carry a slate bar to help break rocks. It was clearly working in the nearby mine. One must wonder whether its tool was lost in a cave-in. It's hard to say, really. Another mystery, there's no record of Archon hostility towards Weavers. Did they turn on their creators after the surge?
Is this just about the Arcs?
It's about everything. I suspect we're chasing dead ends. None of these leads fill me with any sort of confidence.
Come on. If anyone can figure this place out, it's you.
Bryn, have you ever built an archive from the ground up without access to records, first-hand accounts, or living witnesses?
Nope. Can't say I have.
That explains your optimism, but thanks for the vote of confidence.
All we can do is put one foot in front of the other. If we're ever going to solve this puzzle, it will only happen piece by piece.
You're right about that. More pieces would help, though. Maybe if you track down other arcs, we might start to understand what's going on with them.
More information about anything trying to kill me is probably a good thing. Though it does mean getting close to the things trying to kill me, which is less good.
Yes, do try not to die in the process, as that would render the information less useful.